role that's examining all sources of funding, disbursement, and expenditure, including sponsorship and subvention. It will also cover infrastructure and project delivery, that's assessing the implementation, cost variation, and timelines and value for money outcomes of all facilities developed for the Games. Now, the Auditor General is expected to submit the report to the President by the second week of December 2025. Now, the police and military have been implicated in 7 of the 15 deaths recorded during the 2020 and 2024 election violence in parts of the country. Now, the Interior Minister updating the public on the investigations into election-related violence reviewed procedural actions were overlooked, legal requirements were violated, and these instances of clear breaches of discipline. There's more in the following 3 news reports.
2020 and 2024 elections, though largely peaceful, were nonetheless marred by isolated incidents of violence and confrontations between security personnel and civilians at some polling stations. Providing update on the status of investigations by the 13-member committee set up by the IGP on the instructions of the President, Interior Minister Muntaka Mubarak Mohammed noted, amongst others, some personnel of the security service misconducted themselves during those elections and were responsible for some of the deaths recorded.
The Special Investigation Task Force identified 12 cases that took place during the 2020 and 2024 general election. These cases had resulted in 15 deaths across the country, and well over 40 individuals got injured. Some procedural actions were overlooked. There were instances of clear breaches of discipline. The investigation established that 3 of the cases resulting in 4 deaths are traceable to the use of firearms by armed police patrol teams. Military personnel were also found to be responsible for 3 of the cases resulting in the death of 3 persons. Investigation further established that 4 of the cases, which resulted in 5 deaths, were recorded when party enthusiastic supporters resorted to the use of firearms against their opponent. The 2 other cases involve persons who were lynched during confrontation between supporters of the 2 major parties. 21 suspects have been identified through witness interview, scene visit, reconstruction of crime and crime scene, and forensic and ballistic examination of material of evidence relevant to the cases. 11 new dockets have been built on the cases.
Meanwhile, security expert Mumuni Mukhtar, who spoke in Hot Edition, welcomes the move.
We have come to conclude that politicians have, weaponized the security sector, security as a tool of intimidation, against civilians or political opponents. If you remember, the 2019 Ayawaso incident, a huge blot on the image of this country when it comes to security and elections. The initial commission came out with recommendations, and some of them bordered on either structural changes to security operations as well as individual liabilities, and that included referring some of the security officers involved for prosecution and all of that.
Security expert Mumuni Mukhtar there. Now, to some environmental stories, the embattled Member of Parliament for Isutifi North, Ebenezer Kweku Ado, has been granted 150,000 Ghana cedis bail by an Accra High Court. This criminal investigation department processed him for court for his alleged involvement in the attack of officers of the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat, that's NIMOS for short, at Tridium in the Ashafo region. Meanwhile, the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, has strongly condemned the alleged involvement of 2 members of Parliament in the attack. Take a listen.
Honourable members, what I did was a formal communication by me on a reported attack on a team of National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat. Honourable members, they are being investigated. They have not been convicted. And so we just want to erase the impression or perception that members are always being shielded from the due process of the law. You all know that we've never done that. It's just that because you hold some positions.
And that was the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Babi. Now, the National Coordinator for Eco-Conscious Citizens, Aula Sewa, believes justice would be served.
I would say that we must commend the government, or we must commend the police, because it's the police who have, in the course of their investigations, they are the ones who have invited the MP for questioning, and that is a step in the right direction, because the public needs to be assured everybody is equal. There's no selective justice. So I do believe it's a step in the right direction.
Now, that was the Coordinator for Eco-Conscious Citizens, Aula Sewa. Now, before we go to journalists from Media General, Sarah Apenkro and Godwin Asidiba have been named among 38 nominees for the Ghana Journalists Award Association, set to take place this weekend at Nisha Palace in Kumasi on Saturday, November 8. Here's the General Secretary of the Awards Committee, Samuel Stevenson Bio, speaking at a media briefing last night.
The Media Awards GJ 2025 nominees. We have 38 nominees here, and as the President said, they are not award winners yet. Timothy Inyangwe, Daily Graphic. Sarah Apenkro, TV3. Rachel Kakraba, JBC. Solomon Guma, Ghana News Agency. Edmond Smith Asante, Daily Graphic. Samuel Dowona, Tech Focus. Masahudu Ankilu Kunate, African Eye Report. Gordon Asediba, Media General.
And that was the General Secretary of the Awards Committee for the Ghana Journalists Association Media Awards, Samuel Stevenson Bio. That's it for this morning's package. For more news, please check our website at 3news.com. I am Enyonam Haligah. Business News is right up.
Follow us on social media, Twitter at 3FM927, Facebook at 3FM927, and also on 3news.com.
It's now time for the business news here on Sunrise 3FM 92.7. And coming up this morning, ahead of the 2026 budget presentation, an economist advises government to prioritize market access and improve infrastructure for the agriculture sector instead of granting tax reliefs.
First of all, providing markets, ensuring that, when the government is procuring, emphasis is placed on domestic production so that, you provide them ready markets.
In March later, the Energy Minister, John Jinapo, vows to end the cycle of extension for upstream petroleum blocks.
No contractor or operator will be allowed to hold onto our oil blocks without fulfilling the minimum work obligations.
We'll bring you details of these stories and other stories. Please stay with us. The details now. Ahead of the 2026 budget on November 13, an economist at the University of Ghana is pressing government to pivot its focus, arguing the agriculture sector must become the backbone of long-term economic strategy. He specifically calls for market access and infrastructure instead of relying on tax breaks. Let's take a listen to Professor Patrick Isumin.
The plea comes from Professor Patrick Isumin of the University of Ghana Business School, who believes agriculture's budget allocation is critical for achieving a sustainable national growth.
Bringing down food inflation, the industrialization drive, all of that, agri sector is key. I think where it's extremely important is the government to, first of all, providing markets, ensuring that, when the government is procuring, emphasis is placed on domestic production so that you provide them ready markets.
Professor Isumin outlined two essential areas the finance minister must address in the upcoming presentation, providing vital inputs and upgrading infrastructure. He contends that while past budgets have offered waivers, a more impactful approach is required to transform the sector.
There are areas where some kind of additional interventions, like supporting in the creation of storage systems, and of course improving access to some of the key inputs that have become a problem in recent times. Perhaps it won't be as expensive as giving subsidies. Where perhaps I probably wouldn't go into is necessarily giving incentives. The problem with giving the subsidy is that then you have to make sure that it's properly policed, that doesn't end up in the wrong hands. We've had too much history of that kind of intervention going back.
The advice provides a clear roadmap for policymakers as the nation looks to cement its economic recovery status. The 2025 budget allocated 2.90 billion cedis to the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, representing just 0.54% of the entire government expenditure. This was a reduction of 2% from the previous year.
Meanwhile, as the government finalizes the 2026 national budget, Ghanaian citizens are vocalizing their expectations with a strong focus on two critical areas: advancing in health sector and the creation of employment opportunities for the youth. Public sentiment suggests that while macroeconomic stability is being restored and tangible benefits must now translate into improved social services and livelihoods.
Care services, there's a lot to be implemented because you can see with the health facilities in our various healthcare centers, they are shortening. So I'm really talking about saving lives, because when you save a life, it's good. So I'll lead on the government that at least with our healthcare services, there should be more facilities to help produce our health.
The 2026 budget, as at now, food items are going up. A bag of cassava, a bag of maize is going up. The way we are expecting things to go down, things are not going down now. We used to buy rice, fried rice, in the previous government, which was 30 cedis, 40 cedis, but now it's 80 cedis. So why must the dollar go down, but price of food stuffs are going up? That's our problem with the government now. Even though the government is trying to make things okay for we the Ghanaians, but it's not trying where food items are being bought. Everything is going up. The only thing that I can say that is down now is the fuel price. I said the fuel price, nothing is going on again.
At the 2026 budget to and they say a buying by share Mabuna or Moas Assassin. Yeah, walk Ganamuno, a Jumaye.
There is the need for job creation for the youth to reduce social vices.
As a question, I would be anyone saying, finding ways and means for the idea and no day social suburban. Yes, Rabbi say 2026 budget and one share and Bobunuba.
And those were some Ghanaians vocalizing their expectations ahead of the 2026 national budget presentation. Now, the Minister for Energy and Green Transition, John Jinapo, has stated that no contractor or operator in the petroleum upstream sector will be allowed to hold on to a block without fulfilling its minimum work obligation. Now, speaking at the Petroleum Commission 2025 Local Content Conference and Exhibition, he emphasized that the cycle of repeated extensions must become a thing of the past.
The cycle of repeated extensions of petroleum agreements must become a thing of the past. With increasing interest from these oil majors and reputable companies, no contractor or operator will be allowed to hold onto our oil blocks without fulfilling the minimum work obligations. and I met the finance minister. He told me that, Jinabo, if we do not do anything, this sector will collapse. And if we do not do anything, and that's the truth, in some 5-10 years' time, Ghana's energy sector will suffer a major shock. And this conference should look at that.
You heard the Minister of Energy and Green Transition, John Jinapor. Now, before we go, let's take a look at how the cedi is faring against major trading currencies and how some key commodities are also faring on the global markets.
Interbank foreign exchange market, the dollar is selling at 10 cedis, 92 pesos. It gained 2 pesos. The British pound is selling at 14 cedis, 25 pesos. It lost 7 pesos. The euro is selling at 12 cedis, 54 pesos. It lost 2 pesos. However, be guided that these figures could be higher at a forex bureau near you. Commodities market, Brent crude is trading at $64.42 per barrel. Gold is trading at $3,933.40 per ounce, down by 68 cents. Cocoa is trading at $6,600 per ton, up by $41.
That was an update from the Forex and commodities markets. That will be all for business news here on Sunrise 3FM 92.7. For more news, please check our website at 3news.com. I am Enyonam Haligah. Sunrise continues.